Welcome to Innovate and Inspire on Kirklees Local TV, the show where we spotlight the people, projects and ideas shaping the future of our town and region. I'm your host, Dr. Milton Brown, and today we're focusing on continued transformation of Huddersfield from major infrastructure developments to business growth and cultural regeneration. Joining me is Charles Maltby, Programme Director at the Huddersfield Unlimited, the organisation leading on the town's economic vision and investment strategy. Charles offers leadership and expert guidance through his role at Huddersfield Unlimited on how to put the town on the map and make it a desirable destination for businesses, the current and future generations, and the general public alike. Charles, welcome to Innovate and Inspire.
Thank you.
Yeah. To share with our viewers, just who is Huddersfield Unlimited?
We're a very small organisation whose origins go back to 2018, just before the pandemic, when a group of senior business people in the town got together and kind of realised that the town wasn't moving, nothing was happening. There was a lack of momentum in the town to move it forwards, and kind of thought, well, someone should be doing something about this. Nobody was. Mm-hmm. So our chairman and founder, Sir John Harman, effectively said to them, well, we'll have to do it. So a small amount of donation money was put on the table to get things going, and Huddersfield Unlimited was formed. Obviously, as it was starting in its early days, the pandemic got in the way and kind of stopped things happening, and I joined just after that as the first actual paid employee, part-time basis, to try and help get things moving as programme director. So with some momentum moving forwards, what we want to be is the voice of the businesses of the town of Huddersfield. The role that Kirklees Council plays clearly is for all of Kirklees, and the diverse nature of North Kirklees versus South Kirklees, the town centre activities versus the rural activities. So they have a different remit to what we have. And what we wanted to do is to work with the businesses, the business community, but also work with the statutory bodies to give that voice to Huddersfield, to put it back on the map. Because if you go back a few decades, Huddersfield was well known in the area for a variety of reasons and such things, but it was successful. It was textiles. It was the centre of the textiles universe, with apologies to Bradford and other such places that also think they own all of that lot. But it started here. So Huddersfield was the original place that did all of these things. And what we've tried to do since then is talk to the business community, talk to the community widely, to get common opinions and thoughts into one place, and then go and lobby the statutory bodies, whether that be Kirklees, who we have a very good relationship with, or whether that be WICA, the regional body, or indeed organisations like the university or the football club that's having more influence these days, to try and push for the town and get the town on the map. And if the town can be prosperous and achieve things as a town, then the people in the town will all see benefits in many different ways.
Mm-hmm. I like the idea about the town was stagnating, and you said stagnation causes death. And now you're working with all these businesses to move the town forward. What do you mean, move the town forward? What's the vision of that, and how does it benefit the people?
The town currently suffers from a variety of things. It's seen as one of the lowest wage per family in the region and area. So we need some higher value jobs. We need to bring jobs to the area, new jobs, new investment that people can aspire to, progress to. We also have a large young adult population that aren't particularly the ones that want to go down the academic route. We have wonderful colleges and the university here for those that do, but they want to progress and they want to learn and move forward. Now, it's not necessarily easy in the current economic climate, but nonetheless, they're here, they're willing, they want to move forwards. But it will only work if new investment comes into the town from the private sector, really, to put those new jobs in place. So businesses growing, existing businesses or new businesses coming here, investment in some of the infrastructure to enable those sorts of things.
How is the Huddersfield Unlimited strategy reinvesting some of this regeneration into development and education?
Good question. We were invited to sit on the local Employment and Skills Committee a little while ago, which has been very eye-opening to see some of the challenges that go into all of those things. The government, local and national, makes a certain amount of funding available to try and encourage businesses to take on apprentices and or young people. And clearly we push that out to the people who follow us. We don't have members, we're not a membership organisation, so it's followers and friends and such things that come behind us. Reminding them of what there is, and to some extent in our business forums and so on and so forth, I know, because people ask me, who should I talk to about X or Y, and we can link people together. You know, our strongest asset probably is connecting people. So for those that have got or aspire to assist the younger, you know, they either want specifically to get their young folk more integrated, or they want to offer services to try and help the young folk of the community. Very diverse group of people here and very diverse needs that those people are wanting. But how can we best get them to talk to one another and actually achieve the momentum, more momentum to take them forwards?
Communication, transparency, sharing your vision and your objectives overall, the excitement of moving the town forward. How do you do that?
It's a good question, and for an organisation with very limited funds, this is not a sales pitch, but we are funded through the business community, so it's the generosity of the local business leaders or ex-leaders that want to see the town move forwards. They're perhaps born and bred here or lived here, that give us a certain amount of funds to keep us moving forwards and to, you know, cover our costs for doing things. But we also try and make our various events self-sustaining. So, for example, the most recent business forum that we had, which is one of our tools for this, was held at Brooks Mill. We had a theme for that one of culture and leisure. We always have different themes for our business forums. And we had a number of people there in the room representing organisations like the Lawrence Batley Theatre or the Huddersfield Choral Society that can represent the cultural side, but there was also some other businesses and things there. But it's an opportunity for around about 100 people to meet, to interact over a little bit of refreshments and such things, talk about the town, share with us some of their frustrations, and I'll be honest with you, there's some good characters around the town that like sharing frustrations, and we'll do what we can to try and help them. And in some cases it's others saying good news, things that have moved forwards and they can see the benefit in their particular sphere at that moment in time. We also have an annual conference this year in October, on the 22nd of October, for those with long memories or want to put the date in the diary. Details will follow. It'll be our 5th year of having a conference. And we try and do two things at the conference really. One, to showcase some of the positive stories and the good activities happening in the town that maybe people miss. The media outlets are very good at finding negative stories. They don't always highlight the positive stories in quite the same way. Some do, let's be honest. But also to highlight or give some headline speech opportunity to key individuals that might influence the town. We had Steve Mawson, who's the Chief Executive at the Council at our last one, for example, and he could talk specifically to that business audience, it's predominantly business audience, about some of the benefits and services available through Business Kirklees, part of Kirklees Council, to the businesses here to try and help them develop and grow in different ways. Previously, we've had Kevin Nagel, the owner of the football club, talking about his ambition for, well, hopefully not talking too much about the on-pitch ambition, because clearly that's not directly in his hands, but the ambition for the site that they now own down around the stadium and how that can help the wider community, providing services and facilities, not just for those that play sports, but for those that just want to interact. Sort of an American model, if you like, in his eyes, of how the whole community can integrate in different ways and take advantage of some of the things that they're doing. So we also have a new website for those that haven't seen, huddersfieldunlimited.co.uk. Please go and have a look. It's been freshly done. Little plug for the guy that did it for us, Smith Agency here in the town. Fantastic people if you want to talk about branding and such things. On there, we try and showcase some of those positive stories. There's a lovely interactive map that shows nearly 50, I think now, different investments that are going on in the town, some public, some private, but they're all opportunities for people to go and see what's happening, because these things are taking shape, like the cultural heart. It's growing, it's happening, even if it's a little bit delayed.
How is the opportunities and challenges, perhaps shall I say, for local businesses in Kirklees? What's the state of play for them?
An interesting question, given where we are with things on the news. With my business head on for a moment, yes, it's very challenging times for businesses. There's the associated costs of employment are a challenge for small businesses. They need to find a way through that. They need to find a way of dealing with it. We've got the increasing costs that come generally from inflation, The activities in the Middle East at the moment don't help any of that, as we all know. Let's hope that gets itself resolved very quickly. And just generally, there's a certain amount of turbulence in trade for those businesses that export or buy in goods from overseas and actually trading and handling all of those things. So it is challenging times. What do businesses need to do? Well, when I'm acting as a business mentor and such things, which is not really my Huddersfield Unlimited role, but it's about have a plan, have a good plan, understand what your business is and what it's trying to achieve so that you can overcome those immediate challenges, whether it relate to money or employment issues or overseas trade or whatever else it might be. It's necessary for all those organisations individually and jointly through the many federations of business communities and such things. There are specific ones locally. For example, the Business Improvement District bid, Sam Sharp and co try and do things for the town centre businesses. There's the Federation of Small Businesses does things on a wider basis for those, and has a presence here in the town. And we have now 2 chambers of commerce basically working for the town to try and help. So there's lots of help there to try and assist those people make this.
How does everybody get on with that?
Well, we get on well with all of them, Milton, because we aim to. We do. We're too small really to affect what they get up to, but we can link people or point people to the one that we think is most appropriate. And a lot of people we point to Business Kirklees. They're the most local one, and I have to say that the staff that work within Business Kirklees do a really good job when they're able to. Clearly, there are some restrictions and limitations in how they can go forwards with this. But we've pointed many individuals to them to try and find where a premises might be or what support might be available. We're sitting here in the media centre. I mean, some of it is to find locations here in the town centre where businesses can set up and move forwards. So I think it's that talking. It's finding a way. Be brave. Have a conversation with someone that might be, maybe in some cases even a competitor or a semi-competitor, and find a mutual way of moving forwards, find ways and means of overcoming those difficulties. And there is help out there, but you do have to search it, and it's not necessarily very easy. Yeah,
I'm thinking, where's the challenges, there's always opportunities. And I must say, we're on a kind of a vision and a redevelopment of KLTV where we want to go in the next 5 years. And Kirklees businesses have been really helpful with that.
Good.
From station to stadium corridor, why is that investment so important, and how will that permeate around Kirklees?
It's a very useful question. Kirklees and in particular Huddersfield has some problems. There are a lot of historic buildings, there's a lot of listed buildings, and there's not a lot of flat land. So it's kind of a double whammy. You need relatively flat land to do modern buildings and modern arrangements, and refurbishing older buildings is expensive, relatively speaking. I'm not saying that that's insurmountable, and it works really, really well. There's some great examples around here. But the focus of the station to stadium corridor, and let's extend that all the way out to Syngenta's land, because they've made 20 acres available as part of that. They're not far away from where the stadium is and such things. It's flat land. Parts of it are currently empty, intentionally empty in the sense that the gasometer was taken down recently, and although to some extent that land is contaminated by virtue of the activities there, the gas production and so on and so forth, there is public money to deal with the initial clean-up areas, but certain types of businesses could happily go on top of there without it. It's not, you're not going to put houses there, for example, so there's ways of doing it. So it's land availability in a concentrated area. It's access in particular to the really good communications that the new train service will provide, but also the bus services. The regional authorities work with the Weaver buses and such things, maybe not in year one, which is a sort of consolidation year as I understand it, but as they start to look for new routes where now the population needs are residential population and business population. There's some new business parks in areas where the buses don't go, for example. That needs addressing. New external developers can come and see, hopefully, multiple things happening in a line. from the work in the town centre that's particularly predominantly been done by the council. It's lovely to walk past the George this morning and see that's now been moved on again. I know they're getting on with the George again.
Over the square.
I know, well, absolutely, but it's progress. Things are happening, so it's progress. And then at the other end, we've got our friend Kevin Nagel looking at what he can do at the stadium end. There's the 7-acre Gasworks Street site and the gasometer area as well, all of which is up for development. And there are a few other little adjacent sites, some in private ownership. We talked to some of the local business owners from the wide community that's there that are looking at maybe electric charging stations or ancillary things to go with the business use of all that area. All of those things together hopefully make it an interesting place to come and have a look at for what might be a London-based pension fund or investment company that will willingly build the buildings that can draw in those businesses looking for a northern location. This might be a national or even an international business looking for its northern location in the UK. Let's get Huddersfield on the map. I'm smiling as I say this, but we sort of lose out a bit in that there's two very good football teams in Manchester most of the time, and one in Leeds for those that are fans of that one. Therefore, they know Leeds and Manchester as names. They don't know the name Huddersfield. If Huddersfield, Kirklees as a name doesn't always help because the Kirk part represents, in a lot of people's eyes, something in Scotland rather than the north of England. However, they are what they are. Let's get Huddersfield on the map, draw in that interest, and then the whole community that we've got here in the town, we don't ignore Kirklees as a whole, but we focus on Huddersfield as a town. Let's get that very diverse, very capable, very able, very talented group of people that we've got here working where they aren't, or working in higher paid roles as they develop and the businesses develop, to put money into the community that will then manifest itself in the other, let's call them cultural and leisure things going on in the town area as well.
I guess we all have to be a little bit patient as this development and regeneration unfolds. Huddersfield, Kirklees, 26.4% of its population is see themselves as the global majority. 35% of that 26% is right here in Huddersfield.
Yes.
How are you bringing them into this discussion around regeneration of Huddersfield and putting Huddersfield on the map?
We continuously approach all the different organisations that we can to talk to the people. We're very business orientated, so
that's right.
We're not doing this from a community nature, which maybe some other organisations might do, Milton, but from a business point of view, a lot of those people from the global majority own or run small businesses, some not quite so small businesses, to be honest. What's their view? And they don't necessarily ones that readily share views across the whole community, so we need to get to them and find them and talk to them so that we can consolidate those views. I'll be honest with you, the ones that I've spoken to most recently were actually asking exactly the same questions as anybody else, but we could help them. I could think of one individual from the global majority looking at how we could get some further work done on a building that he owns and wants to do some stuff to. Put him through to the right people at the council. That building is now progressing. So that link, that dialogue, because communications is key in all of these things. If people can't talk to one another and sort these things out, then we can't get very far. But we will continually strive to talk to anybody in the town area. As I say, we're town centric rather than anything else. But any of the organisations that are listening to this that have perhaps never heard of or worked with Huddersfield Unlimited that want to see what we can do for them and the business people that they have within that community, do come and talk to me. We can take that further forwards. And come to our events, come along and see things and talk to us in that way. We will do everything we can to try and. One of the assets of the town is its diversity, to be honest, Milton. We can't lose that. We want more of that.
I think you made it very clear right at the beginning of answering the question. It's about business, and there's scales of business, and how who can contribute to the town centre can, in one sense, and those who perhaps small SMEs and voluntary sector organisations can contribute in another way. But it's all about putting Huddersfield on the map.
Yes.
Transport is always a regeneration. how will projects like the TransPennine, you touched on it earlier on, the bus network, improve growth? Yeah, can you give us those little details about that?
I'm very happy to. I mean, Huddersfield is, I can't say it's unique, but it's a little bit unusual in that, as well as the town centre area and all the activity around the town centre, we have these satellite communities. So there are people that might be in Slowett or Home Firth or wherever else it is that need to be able to move around to get onto those more major routes. We had one of the businesses talking to us recently in a workshop that we were holding, so we could give some feedback to both to Wyker and to the council in terms of these things. If you want to go from Home Firth to Slowett, it's actually rather complicated. You have to go into the town centre and out again. So if you're a young individual that can get a job in Slowett, but you haven't got money for a car, you need the bus network to actually work in the right directions. Now, I think that'll come, but it's not here today.
No.
So it's not helping the people today. And much as we can lobby for all of these things, it'll take a while before it comes through. You've then got the rail network. That rail network's wonderful. I'm not a huge train user, but it, as it becomes quicker for doing these things, 20 minutes to Leeds, 20 minutes to Manchester, an hour or less than an hour to get to Manchester Airport, for example. All of those bits and pieces mean the movement of business people, by which I mean, if you like, in connection with the business, not necessarily the commuting side, but the commuting side is important as well, stand a chance of coming from a wider pool of where they might live to work in the Huddersfield area, or vice versa. They live and enjoy the Huddersfield area, but actually work in those other locations without the need to have a car to travel around. Without good public transport, it's a problem. I remember the days when in South Yorkshire the buses were very low cost. There was lots of them, they went everywhere, and you know what? They were full. Buses went past full, which I've never seen around here. So, it's one of those things that if we can get back to that sort of nature of doing it, then all of that community, the very diverse in terms of age as well as global majority people and all the rest of it, moving across the whole region, it needs to happen. And the business investment into the town is a little bit beholden to good communications of that nature, so that the staff that they employ or the customers that they engage with or the suppliers that they work with can likewise move around freely and effectively, which is what we should have, really.
Looking at success in 5 years' time, what does it look like to the
with the various leisure facilities we have? We've got the light now for people to go to the cinema in the town centre. Let's have all of those being well used, because you sometimes go around the town in an evening now and it's quieter than you'd like it to be. I was sat in a meeting with the police chief not so long ago, a few months ago. The crime rate in the town is on a par with Torbay. Now, you'd go on holiday to Torbay and you wouldn't think it was a crime-ridden place. Well, we're the same by their statistical measures and such things. So people need to be wary, I understand that, but also understand there's a lot going on to try and make the place more attractive in the town centre. I mentioned BID earlier, but the Huddersfield BID are trying to put on events. There's some fantastic events that they organise to draw us into the town. We, the public, have to play our part in that and come into the town centre to take part in things, to use the facilities, and where appropriate, have a job here and move on that basis. So, in a nutshell, the vision is about a more joined up community with all the different parts of this diverse, wonderful town working together. More jobs for people, therefore more employment, therefore a bit more money moving around, all of these things, and we all get the better benefits out of it.
Yeah. I want to thank you, Charles, for sharing the vision of the Huddersfield Unlimited. And also, I'll say your passion, it comes through. You're very determined, you can see your vision, it's very clear. And I'm sure in your hands and the rest of your team, Huddersfield is moving in the right direction. But patience is probably the biggest thing I'd like to say.
True.
That what I've got from this is that there's a lot of things bubbling and moving forward, and it might take another 5 or possibly even 10 years for everything to come to fruition. Yeah. But I wish you and your team all the very best, and once again, thanks for coming in and sharing your vision with us, and keep in touch with you.
We certainly will. Thank you very much for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be able to talk to you.
Thanks Charles. And to our audience, that's all for this edition of Innovate and Inspire of Kirklees Local TV. If you like to learn more about the projects and initiatives discussed today, you can explore further using the links below. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time as we continue to highlight innovation and inspiration across our town, our borough and our region. Bye for now.